to all the peeps close to me and dear to me, the ones that's been there for my whole life, the ones that came later in my life. You know what? I appreciate all the blessings God has given me, and I want to repay it to you like this. Clap your hands. Everybody clap your hands. Introducing.
All right. What's up, everybody? How y'all feeling out there? Yeah. This one, it occurred to me to do this. It's going to be a short stream, but, in light of all of the things coming out about Diddy, which a lot of people, has not a lot of people, but enough people had some kind of idea that things were not happening right, in line with, music industry, certain executives, or even just companies, or maybe even specific executives, or not. It could be a cultural thing, but a lot of people are aware of this, and it's coming out in the media that things were worse than maybe what some expected, even if some already knew things were that bad. But I'm one of the people that uh, definitely was skeptical of the industry in terms of business. Not in terms of the talent. There's a lot of talent in the music industry. People flock to it from all parts of the world. But the thing about it is that the business doesn't always turn out to be what people expect it to be, or what people can even imagine it is, right? Um, yeah. So me myself, you know, I I became more associated with the music industry, in my 20s, right? Mid 20s, yeah, early 20s, around that time. And even back then, my experience wasn't bad at all. It was actually pretty nice and mild, especially compared to when you hear these kind of outrageous stories, of orgies and, um, yeah, people getting ripped off, bad contracts. That wasn't my experience necessarily, not to that extreme at all. I can't even say necessarily. It wasn't my experience. I had a good experience, but that's not the typical experience. That's not the norm. I mean, I guess a lot of it has something to do with who you are, how you approach it. Um, yeah, the people you work with, this kind of stuff. It dictates what your experience can be, possibly. But for me, mine was actually pretty enlightening, educating, and fun. You know what I'm saying? Imagine being, in your early 20s, and you're able to learn things and have access to an industry that most people never going to get a front row seat to, never going to learn about the inner workings, never going to get a practical understanding of how things really work. Well, I was lucky enough to be able to get that, and in a cool way. So I can't complain. But nonetheless, all of this outrageous stuff is coming out about people like Puff Daddy. Let me pull up this YouTube machine here and see what's up. Okay, let me cut that off. Yeah, and hey, what's up, Jade? What's up, bro? Yeah, let me see here. So there's been so many. I mean, look, all you got to do is type in Diddy, and look what you're gonna see. There's everybody is going in on this guy right about now, in one way or the other. Jay-Z is somewhat implicated. I mean, Kanye, the whole music industry seems like it's about to fall, to be honest with you, because you're hearing bad things, people, and then you're hearing that other people saw bad things, heard bad things, kept it a secret, didn't say anything. And you're hearing that for decades. This is like a story about decade long deprivation that has just been normalized. You see, it's just been normalized. And it's crazy. And not on top of that, I have to say a lot of these people put out some garbage music for the kids, for the youth, for the culture, which is a term they're often using, the culture. Man, most of y'all bozos have destroyed the culture. That's what's happening. That's the only thing that's been happening. There's a lot of there's a lot of bogus artists, people that don't have art abilities, capabilities, singing, music writing, instrument playing abilities these days. So the music has really gotten outrageously garbage. Is a lot of it is about hoeing, selling your body, and for the men, it's about how much money you got. You know what I'm saying? The things you can buy, right? Promising an illusion of safety and security, these kind of things. No positive message in there about morals or ethics. Tapping into what real beauty is, real relationships are. No, it's sex, it's violence, it's money. That's what the music industry has become. But nonetheless, when you Google this guy or Google him or YouTube him, whatever you want to do, Diddy seems to be the centerpiece of a lot of this. But what you don't hear about is, look at this, Kanye. I mean, this is Jay-Z. I mean, of course, all of this ain't exactly real. It's people, they make these memes and stuff like that and throw them together to tell a story. But if we follow what's really going on, there's real people that really have been hurt. This is not the first time you've heard about people being hurt, having their lives destroyed in the music industry. It's almost normal. It's almost normal. And the raping is not even the worst. The raping is not even the worst. You would think rape, blackmail would be the worst of it. That's what you would think, right? People being pimped out, slaves because they got caught in compromising positions, going to parties, or even forced to do things that they don't even want to do. Not even, but they do, or they're coerced somehow through drugs, whatever the thing is. You know, they get it, videotape it, take pictures, blah blah blah, and blackmail. This has been a thing that's been heard of in the music industry for decades now. It's been heard of. So obviously you're dealing with mafia type of tactics. You're not dealing with a normal industry. You're dealing with mafia type stuff because that's what mafias do. They pimp you, whore you out, blackmail you, these kind of things. And that's what the music industry has overall become. But the raping, the blackmailing, or the raping, let's say the raping, the drugging, this is not even the worst. There's people that have been alleged to have been killed, murdered flat out. You got Whitney Houston, who showed up in a funny, you know, not funny literally, but Houston's death. I mean, there's people saying that she did not die the way they say she died, right? There's people saying that the folks that wanted to kill her, control her, um, knew where her weakness was and set her up, and may have a direct hand, in her death. As in, as in other people, as in the story that was told was not the story. There's other people in it. Look at this. Look at that. I mean, you've seen this. People seen it. Whitney was acting really weird, but look at who, look at who people say had something to do with it. This man right here, right? That's him, Clive Davis. And Diddy, that's the dude who put Diddy on. So you can't rationally separate these events. If you separate these events, you may as well not investigate a goddamn thing about anybody or anything, because these people are so interrelated and connected that you can't miss it. You can't miss it. You have to be trying to not see it to, avoid looking into it, to avoid. But Clive is one of them. Now, but I'm not even talking about Clive. That's not my point today. My point is that when did this start? When did it really start? Who's really involved? What's it really all about? This kind of like behavior. This some people call it a Game of Thrones. taking out people, but it didn't start there. I mean, look, when Jay-Z, Def Jam president. Look, when Jay-Z became Def Jam president, people talked about that. People talked about how did Jay-Z become Def Jam president, right? What was that about? Of all the rappers, how did he become Def Jam president, right? And there's rumors around it, not rumors that directly connect him to anything, because you got to understand, he don't run shit, right? He might be involved in something, but he's not Clive Davis involved. You know what I'm saying? He's not Laura Cohen involved. He's not top tier record industry exec involvement. He's like the bottom tier. He's the one who works for the other one. You see what I mean? He's the one that does all the work. He's the face for the other one too, maybe even, So the old cats don't even have to show their face on the set, you know. Look at the behavior. You got, but he's connected with this behavior too. Jay-Z, they say he like him young, right? Russell Simmons, right? I mean, he's got these allegations, but who is Russell Simmons? Is he just a dude with a face and that did some shit in the music industry? No, he was on early. Russell Simmons is like the godfather of rap music management and curating for top tier, the old school top tier cats. So Russell Simmons is not even top tier himself. He's a worker bee for a top tier person. You see what I'm saying? Russell Simmons was the Puff Daddy before there was a Puff Daddy. He was the real archetype Puff Daddy. You see what I'm saying? He's the real one. He's the one who basically he's the one who brought, who taught Puff Daddy the ropes. Not only Puff Daddy, Andre Harrell. Look at this. Let me move over to Google real quick, because I can get some better pictures if I just go to Google. Let's say here, Andre Harrell, and who else? Russell Simmons. Look at this. If you just go to this, see, these cats are on early. This right here, this is Russell Simmons early. He's the one who put Run DMC on and Jam Master Jay, LL Cool J, Slick Rick, all the old school pop rappers, the ones that blew rap up, the ones that became successful artists, right? All around, touring, selling videos, selling records, selling other products. He brought that into that game. But this is Andre Harrell. Who's Andre Harrell? Andre Harrell is Uptown. I believe it was Uptown Management and Uptown Records. I mean, they follow the similar architecture, you could say. Damn, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, y'all. Format is the word I'm looking for. They follow the same format, you see. But if you say Andre Harrell and Puffy, look, this is a small circle of people you're dealing with here. This is a very small circle. This is not a circle where you might be like, oh yeah, I don't know who that guy is, or no, these people definitely know who each other are. They definitely are directly related in business. There's no indirectly related with them. It's directly related. And then you say from Andre Harrell, let's say Andre Harrell, Puffy, Clive Davis. Now, I'm not even getting where I'm supposed to get, but because I want to just cover the first part. See, this is early. Hold on. Let me see something here. Andre Harrell. Let me just say, cut that out. Clive Davis, just to make it clear, so people can see here. Let's see here. Where are they at? What? Did I just type in Andre Harrell, Clive Davis? It's so funny how I'm getting a whole lot of Biggie stuff. But in any case, you see, they're at these are folks that hop around from label to label as executives. So you got Clive Davis, Andre Harrell. This is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is Andre Harrell right here on the left. He was managed by Russell Simmons, their group, early on. So they got on around the time Run DMC was getting on. So they're all in the same camp. You see, they're all in except early on before Def Jam, and along with Def Jam, there was Priority. So they had their hand in that Russell Simmons, but then they got a better deal out of Def Jam once they created Def Jam, you could say. But yeah, this is decades of relationships, not just like a year or two. This spans decades. So let me see here. Andre Harrell, Clive Davis. Let me see. Andre Harrell, Clive Davis. Am I spelling this right? No, I'm not spelling it right. Right. So here we go. Now you see, this is Def Jam. Rick Rubin, founder of Def Jam. Russell Simmons, also you could say founder of Def Jam. You could also say that. But see, they go back. Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin, they go back to Run DMC, the introduction of Run DMC, Jam Master, LL Cool J. You see, they Tila Rock. They go back to all of that, right? Now look, you notice how this guy's face comes up. He was a would-be exec. He was an exec for a short period of time, but rumor is he committed suicide. That's the official record. He was unhappy about something. I'm talking about Shakir. It's interesting his face came up because I didn't Google his face, but I was getting to him. And he's not the only. But the thing about Shakir is, in this executive record company executive stuff, which normal business people would not understand because a lot of it would be considered unethical. A lot of it would be considered insider trading, right? Which is illegal. It's a federal crime. Well, when you're involved in crime, people come up dead sometimes. You see? But he's from Def Jam. He was a Def Jam exec. This was before Jay-Z. This is just before Jay-Z. They said that this man committed suicide. Now, if you could imagine that you could have somebody like Puffy, right? Having parties, recording people, blackmailing people as is alleged, right? Then, and you keep that in mind, right? Then all you have to do is move the dates back a little bit earlier and not pretend like it started with Puffy, and start thinking, did it start before Puffy? And were there any victims? You see, did it start before Puffy? These kind of acts, and who is controlling this industry? And what are they willing to do to control it? Because this is $1 billion industry. Let me see here. Let me see something here. What is this a year? What's the revenue in the music industry? Global revenue 28.6 billion US dollars. Right? So you're talking about a big industry here. When there's that much money going around, people act funny. Now, okay, so you got Russell Simmons here, you got Lyle Cohen, right, who's Def Jam. You got Rick Rubin, who's Def Jam. Now, take note. If this is a thing going on in the industry, it's interesting how Russell Simmons, out of these three guys, Russell Simmons is the only party guy. You know, Rick Rubin don't party, get in trouble. He doesn't force women, allegedly, because I don't know, and neither does Lyle Cohen. But Russell Simmons does, however. His shit is all out there on Front Street, you know. But let's see here, Lyle Cohen. Now let's look here. Let's look here. Russell Simmons, Shakir. What's his name? Hold on. Sorry about that. Stewart. Shakir Stewart. Wow, where is this? Okay. Shakir Stewart. You see this? Mm, yeah. Shakir apparently, as the rumor is, committed suicide for some reason. People don't know. But as you've heard Mark Curry insinuate that the picture people came, possibly. And when you listen to his story and what the accounts are of him weeks up, maybe a month up to his alleged suicide, you hear a similar story to another exec's alleged suicide. Um, and that is, look at this. Chris, this is a protege of Russell Simmons, but not just a protege of Russell Simmons, right? So he may not be Def Jam, but he's Violator Records. And Violator Management was put into business by Russell Simmons, essentially because at the creation of Def Jam Records, when Russell Simmons became an official executive, right, he wasn't able to manage those artists anymore. It's called a conflict of interest. So he passed the management baton to this guy. So this is an inside thing. He's getting mentored. Lighty's getting mentored and put into business by Russell Simmons. And look who's right here. Look who's here. Take note of that. Like Jay-Z is right here. Now, Chris Lighty, check this out. Chris Lighty. And all you have to do is read what they say about his death, and it almost reads as ambiguous as Shakir Stewart's story. Right? Look, Riverdale, Bronx River. And I know I spoke about the Bronx River before because of Bambaataa, but hey, I'm not saying there ain't nothing to it. You know what I'm saying? There is, in my view, something to it. It's just my opinion. There's players, people who do dirt would rather do dirt with people they know and can trust. Trust is a big issue. Hey, Andrea, when you're doing these kind of things, and when the trust is broken, you got to ask yourself what goes on, and what's going on. Also, not what goes on, but what's going on in the present, and I just hope myself that when it comes down to this big story about Puffy, damn, people have to call him this crap now, Diddy, which I really hate. But yeah, look at this, drugged. None of this stuff. I mean, none of this stuff started with Puffy, straight up. And it's so interesting. Who is not saying a word? about Puffy. And what executives never get into any damn trouble, although their business partner on the day to day is a person who seems to have a problem keeping their hands off people, not drugging people, not robbing people. Their partners seem to be like people that have these problems, but yet they never get implicated in it. I mean, don't you see what I'm saying? Like, so far, in other words, you got a whole lot of black folk dying. You got a whole lot of black folk getting into trouble, and their partners who they seem to be squeaky clean. Clive Davis, never, he's not in any trouble at all. Lara Cohen, he don't know nothing about none of this, although he sure has a knack at finding these people because he found Russell Simmons, right? I mean, just think about that. And I really hope that whatever it is that's going on with Puffy does not stop at Puffy. And I'm not saying he shouldn't, if he committed these crimes, that he shouldn't go to jail or whatever just to get somebody else arrested. No, I'm not saying that, because what he did is horrible in itself. Horrible. He should pay the price for any crime, should he have committed any crime. You can't say that he can. I don't want to say it, of course. I believe that a crime has been committed, but whether you know about it or what he is in the present, you have to watch what you say. But it's clear he's involved in something. But what about the handlers? What about the people put him in business? They don't know nothing about nothing. Is it okay, even at the very least, is it okay to be a billionaire, executive, and you seem to have all these crazy cronies working under you, involved in all kinds of stuff, and you just know nothing about it? But you got a knack for putting them on, though. And you also got a knack for not getting in trouble yourself. Don't you have some responsibility anyway? I hope people really start thinking about this. Can y'all hear that? I'm sorry. I got my window open. 2 seconds. Hold on. 2 seconds, y'all. Let me see here.
The peeps close to me and dear to me, the ones that's been there for my whole life, the ones that came later in my life here. I appreciate all the blessings.
Yeah, I hope that's better now. Yeah, but you see what I'm getting at? I hope y'all see what I'm getting at. For me, if this stuff stops at Puffy, I would not be satisfied. I got to be honest with you. I think overall what's happening is, people will get the feeling like justice is occurring if they just get Puffy. But I got to tell you, there's no way in hell a person like Puffy just invented all of this shit. Like, y'all giving him way too much credit and ingenious. I don't think he's that genius at all. In fact, I think he's one of the less genius people. Hold on 2 seconds. Sorry. Right. Yeah, I would be incredibly disappointed uh, if I just see a trial with Puffy. I mean, and I guess maybe that could be possibly what the FBI is working on. Who knows? But it is their job. You can't have criminals, people blackmailing, using blackmail as a normal business means, drugging as a normal business means, invasion of privacy, taking pictures, even robbing. Even when you just look at the contracts, these 360 deals, where does that kind of contract fly? You just get an all for one deal, subvert everything, and it just all go to you. You're in charge of everything. You control all the dice. I mean, I think This is one of the bigger failures of governance, the music industry in the US, the way they're able to rip artists off. I mean, in my view, you should never, no matter what kind of publishing deal you get, you should never be able to remove um, more than half of the publishing from an artist at any time. Meaning, whatever it is you want to buy, you can only buy half, and you can spend as much money as you want. You could do whatever mechanics on it you want, but it's only half yours. You shouldn't be able to own all the publishing of somebody else's invention when they wrote it, played instrument on it, when they essentially are the artists, the creators. I'm a little. I hope people can see through Puffy. Be upset about Puffy, be angry about Puffy, but understand he had a lot of help. Puffy had a whole lot of help. You don't, something created Puffy. In other words, like, he is not a genius. He is not a person who, I mean, what have you seen of him that's genius? I haven't seen nothing. I've seen opportunist, but not genius. I haven't seen him invent, create anything new. You see, all I've seen him do is promote stuff that might be interesting. But genius? Nah. I don't think there's one genius thing in it, including how he does his business management and manages his artists and his record deals. There's nothing ingenious about ripping off artists. Shit, people was getting ripped off before him. That was already the overall bad news of the industry, that people was getting ripped off. But how were they getting ripped off? When you listen to these stories, it always comes down to drugs, blackmail, tinkering with people's lives. Yeah, a lot of this publishing business and stuff like that. I mean, when it comes to the music, there seems to be a long lasting element of corruption there. I mean, this goes back since the inception, of the music industry, the creation of record companies in America. Of course, someone has to invest, someone has to record, someone has to promote, someone has to distribute, but that don't have to mean that that's the only important thing. That doesn't mean you own something. You shouldn't be able to own outright. And I think that's another problem when you got when you have ownership that's not shared, corruption seems to breed. So we've had some of our most famous artists die broke in America, in the United States, particularly black artists. I mean, I would really hope that people follow that history of black artists being robbed of publishing, being broken, dying broke artists, even. Look at all of that. The management deals that's going on, the publishing deals going on, right? And connect that to what you're seeing of Puffy. You see, because all of those things happen with people's lives being destroyed too. Very similar aspect things going on, that seem to just follow this type of behavior, this type of pattern. You know, let me see here. Let me see who's Andrea. Yeah, the creator should be the majority owner of their products. I mean, I think so. I think so. You know, I'm not too sure how the companies span across the world, how the law works, but I know it doesn't work the same in every country. In the EU, it's not the same. You don't have these same kind of companies buying up everything this way. There's some kind of writers thing that seems to allow writers to not be totally pushed out of their product. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But let me see here, like 49%. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that would stop a lot of the outrageousness that's going on, because right now, even if you ask Casey, for example, since she's like one of Puffy's latest victims, right? What was her record deal like? You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. What percentage does she even get while getting beaten? What percentage of of did Casey get on Bad Boy? She's damn, she signed. Okay. What? Warner Music Group's 50% equity stake in the Bad Boy label is artists attempt to buy their own publishing rights. Um, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to find this outright so fast, but I'm just curious about that. And from what you hear from other artists, is just flat out of Bad Boy they get robbed. That's what you hear. That's been the ongoing public story about Bad Boy Records. But I'm pretty sure it is not. It's not only Bad Boy Records. It's also Def Jam Records. It's also, I think all these labels today are they're connected. It's like a conglomerate now. It's not like it was before with actual separate businesses and separate companies. Now they all, I think, what Universal Music Group is at the top of all most of these labels now. Let me see here. So that's another scary part of it. There's no independent fair trade. There's no competition. Um, Universal Music Group. Let me see something here. Universal Music Group. Yeah, I mean, look at the history of Universal Music Group anyway. I mean, that ought to make you think a little bit. Look at this. Universal, often abbreviated UMG and referred to as a Universal Music Group, is a Dutch American multinational music corporation under Dutch law. UMG's corporate headquarters are located in Hilversum, Netherlands, and its operational headquarters are located in Santa Monica, California. I mean, even a lot of people don't even know this. You know, this is a multinational corporation. The biggest music company in the world is one of the big three record labels, along with Sony Music, Warner Music Group. Okay, so they're supposed to be equal. Acquired 10%. Okay, 10 Cent. 10 Cent acquired 10% of Universal Music Group on March 2020 for $3 billion, and acquired an additional 10% stake in January 2021. Pershing Square Holdings later acquired 10% of Universal Music Group. Let me see something here. Bill Ackman. It's managed by Bill Ackman. Okay, Holdings. This is interesting, and I wonder what they hold. What do they? This. Wait a second. Okay, look at this. Their stock. Their You can trade this. LSE, PSH, FTSE. Damn, it's just risen and risen and risen. Let me look at this one. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. London Stock Exchange. Yeah. So, y'all get the picture anyway. I didn't want to go too far into that, but this is a part of it. You know, this is part of it. Like, who is owning all of this stuff? Who's owning these people? Who's responsible ultimately is the main question. Is this story with Puffy, is it going to stop at Puffy and a couple is it going to stop at like the Negroes of the music? Is it going to stop? And I'm not trying to be prejudiced about it. I'm just saying, what a coincidence. There's not a lot of white executives, non African American executives, getting caught up in this dragnet, you could say. And I've said this before, like, I'm not dismissing at all. In fact, it disgusts me. People like Puffy, Jay-Z, the things that you hear about these people, it disgusts me. But let's be thorough about it, because you can always create a new Jay-Z. Somebody created one. You could create a new Puffy. Why? Because they're subordinates. They're not the real movers and shakers behind that industry. They're people that go in and beg for money, beg for help, beg for the nod. And that's how they get put into business. And what genius do they have? I mean, what genius do they really have? I'm not saying Jay, and please don't get petty on me. I'm not saying Jay-Z can't rap a little bit. I'm not saying Puffy can't dance a little. But I'm saying, to be an executive, like, I don't know what kind of special talent they have that makes them that, that makes them record execs, outside of being tapped to be the face of something. And so what I'm saying is that if you know that these guys are the face, then what responsibility do the real backers, the people that's putting them in business, what responsibility do they have for this behavior? And are they squeaky clean as they seem to be in the media? I haven't heard anybody revisit Clive Davis's uh, his history. I think he had a long time ago, and just to illustrate something. And please don't just look at Clive Davis, but to illustrate the problem, how these people hop around. Look, if you just look at Clive Davis, right? Just look at his record, and he's not the only one, and you will see how they're hopping around, of evading issues, evading trouble. Look, you see that? Columbia, Arista, J Records, RCA, right? BMG, right? You see? Look, he put on a whole lot of people. Davis is credited with hiring young artists such as Tony Orlando for Columbia. He signed many. Yeah, he signed many. I mean, Pink Floyd. He signed a whole heaping, whopping amount of people. Um, he's given the nod to many, right? Um, but he's had some bad. He's had some things attributed to him, like bad behavior as an executive. Also, uh, he's come out as being bisexual in 2013. By the way, for those that don't know, um, but and again, this is Diddy's partner, but I'm not really interested in their sexual relations in that capacity, what they claim they are. But let me see here. I believe he was caught up in. See, look at this. He left CBS 15 years ago for a case of harassment. Jimmy Iovine also. Wait a second, but this is not the first time I heard about Clive Davis. Tommy Mottola. Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, okay, look, see. there's a whole lot of funny stuff going on. Um, and I don't mean funny like the queer stuff. I mean funnier, like, blackmail, um, essentially robbing people, bad record deals, you know, murder, murder going on. And I would think that that would be more important than any one individual like Cassie, Diddy. Yo, there's way more people that's been harmed, is what I'm saying. What it looks like to me. That's my personal opinion. Um, just from what I've gathered by looking at these people and also hearing about these rumors long time ago, way long time ago. Long. I mean, look, people are hearing rumors about Puffy. Shit. It's been rumors. Now you get in a whiff of Puffy. But 20 years ago, there was rumors about all these other cats, like serious rumors, like a lot of rumors, things I can't even say because I don't like just saying stuff. But there are stories out there. I'm sure people are going to hear more about it. And it's not just about women, it's also about men. 20 years ago, you see what I'm saying? Also about unfortunate events, people, meeting their demise somehow in different ways, so I would just say, these are the curators of the culture. So folks that are concerned about the culture need to be concerned about all of this, because this is what's behind it, and it's not a surprise because look at the culture, by the way, deviant, about money, about exploitation of women, men, people selling goods for other rich billionaires. Let me show you what this car looks like. Yeah, because my rich billionaire friend sells them. I mean, not friend, but the person I work for sells them or partners up with the person that sells them, selling products, this kind of thing, this billionaire conglomerate type of business stuff, and it seems like, a person like Puffy is not important. No, Jay-Z and Puffy, they're very important to these people because they're the face. Think about Jay-Z bought the Brooklyn Dodgers, right? He was the face. He was like 1%. That's it. People were happy with that. In fact, they may not have even been able to get that stadium if they didn't even have a minority person in it. You see? Like they was getting refused before that. You see, so this what's going on here, the culture is bigger than what people think, and the persons behind it are bigger. The persons responsible, good or bad, are bigger than just a Jay-Z or a Puff Daddy, So on that note, that's basically what I wanted to say. I'm not, like I said, this is not going to be long because anybody that wants to Google Clive Davis, Google all these record execs, and you will see how small the party gets. You see, then Google all their artists, and you will see how many of their artists talk about how horrible that industry is. Horrible, right? Yeah. Think about having a manager or a boss for 20 years, and that boss is like the same old boss that's been there forever. There's no reform going on. No reform. Reform seldom happens with people that's just been sitting in power forever. No, those are usually the corrupt ones that are not behind any reforms, that don't want any reforms. And there's a lot of them because, this is really, when they call it the culture, part of it we're talking about is American culture. Greed. You see, just flat out greed and the ability to justify crushing people for the outcome. I mean, in terms of the culture, it's so funny that they call it the culture. It's so funny. Same country that became rich off of the backs of slaves. You see, so you can't separate these things. I know it sounds wild. It's to some of you, it may sound wild to hear me connect those things, but it ain't wild to me. To me, that's the big picture. To me, that's the big picture, the real story, the underlying story. And it seems like people haven't learned a lesson, But on that note, I'm out, y'all. Peace to everybody that came through. Andrea, Jade. I will catch up with everybody else later. In the next couple of days. Yeah, I'm finishing my little short normal work week, so I'll be happy to get back with folks real soon. And on that note, have a good rest of your day. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think in the comments section later. Give it some thought. Yeah. And peace to everybody. Have a great end to your day. Peace.
This is kind of like a prayer going out to all the the peeps close to me and dear to me, the ones that's been there for my whole life, the ones that came later in my life. Yeah, I appreciate all the blessings God has given me, and I want to repay it to you like this. Clap your hands. Everybody clap your hands. Introducing